super cool video here today. A little hard for me to do the intro. Been putting it off because it's hard for me to do this one. Super cool one here for you guys today. A little hard for me to capture this one here because it's a dual screen OLED laptop. This one here is a refresh of the Lenovo YogaBook 9i. I did the previous generation, I think the generation before that. This year crushes the previous ones because this one here is equipped with an Arrow Lake CPU from Intel, which is the best CPU on the market right now. The 255H is my personal preference. It's in my personal laptop, the Lenovo ThinkBook 14 Plus. I have access to all kinds of stuff. I buy laptops all the time to review, and guess which one I kept? The one with the 255H. This one has it in here. It's a dual screen OLED laptop. Very cool. It's a convertible. It can turn it into 2-in-1 pyramid, turn it into a tablet. In a tablet, then you can use it with a pen that comes with it to do drawing type stuff. Very cool. You do have access to it being kind of, a dual screen tablet. You do have access to a keyboard. There's a Bluetooth keyboard. Apparently I press something. It works very well. Very, very nice keyboard. You can use it like that. And you may look at this and be like, all right, cool. I don't necessarily want to be always using an external keyboard, whatever, not attached to it. Well, it actually slaps right onto, let's do it here to start. It slaps right onto there. When you do that, then you can see you get a little trackpad. Turns into a little trackpad there. Very cool. You can slide it down, and then you get a little screen type thing on the bottom there with some news type stuff. You can close those out. Use it as just like extended screen. That's very cool. So you can do that. Of course, you can take this off, use it kind of off to the side. Very cool. And then, you may have it sitting in like laptop mode like that. You'd be like, no, I want to set it up. It actually comes with this keyboard holder thing. This is the hardest part to record, but you basically just do that. See, it turns into a little pyramid type thing. Go like this. This is done on a desk normally, not in my hand, right? And then it sets up like that. It's very sturdy, actually. I'm not holding it like that. Very cool. Of course, you can put it like that. Very cool. And, when you're in this mode here, of course, you can use, right? Like now you don't necessarily have access to everything because it's in this like weird vertical mode. This is so hard to record on camera, by the way. That's magnetized, and then you have that whole thing set, right? Okay, very cool. That's awesome. And then you're like, all right, that's super cool, but it also seems to be like kind of a pain in the butt. Well, you can also come in here, and this is not just a touch screen. If you actually do the double, which is really hard for me to do on camera. I did it. Sick. Then it turns into an actual keyboard. You just touch both with both hands, and then you get that, and you get your little typey keyboard. So that's the intro. Let's have a look at the PSRef document here so we can see the laptop here, that beautiful blue color. 3 times USB 4, Thunderbolt 4. You don't get any USB-A, but at least you get a ton of USB 4. That's good. Coming down here, we have 2 different CPU options, a 255H and a 285H. You do not want the 285H, you want the 255H where possible because the performance is basically the same. I've tested this. I can back up what I'm saying here. However, the 255H requires fewer wattages. So you're going to get basically the same performance, especially in a limited platform like this, but it should cost less and it will run cooler. So get that. Both of them have the same iGPU. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic iGPU, 140T. Very, very, very close to AMD's absolute best, the 890M. They're within trading blow distance of one another. NVMe inside is a 2242. You get 2 of them. It is a pain to open, but technically you could open it and upgrade it. So probably get the size you want where possible because it is a bit of a pain to open. You can, of course, expand your storage with the Thunderbolt ports. One screen option. Both of the screens are going to be exactly the same. 14-inch, 1800p multi-touch OLED. It'll be fantastic. That'll be exactly what you want. Very bright. Even in like SDR here, 500 nits, 100% DCI-P3. Beautiful screen, 120 hertz refresh. It is glossy, just so you know. It's not as glossy as some, but it is still glossy. And you do have 2 memory options, 16 gigabytes, 32. I highly recommend you get the 32 because you're not going to be able to upgrade it. It's going to give you a lot more legs on this laptop, and specifically the Intel Arc will take some of that VRAM as well. So definitely get the 32. Here today we have 16 gigabytes and the 255H. I would recommend getting the 32 gigabytes. It will just go a lot further for you. Okay, so 0 grams. 1219. It's not very heavy, to be honest. It is very premium, like the metal material. So, you know, you do get that, but it's not super heavy. What do we got here for a full carry? It's not that heavy. Like it's not super light. I mean, you have all this stuff coming with it. You're looking at about 4 pounds, somewhere around there for the whole getup. But of course, you know, you don't have to even take all this stuff with you. If you're just going to quickly, you know, take some notes, watch some shows, you just take this. Right now I have it in dual. Let's get my little thing out there. In my dual screen mode here. You can see there's a screen on the top. There's a screen on the bottom. Both are fully functional touchscreens. Right? You can use them like that. You can close it up. You can put it in that mode there. Use it just like that. One of the screens will be running. You could mirror them so you can have one person on one side, one person on the other, using them independently. Lots of different cool ways you could use it like that. Right now, you know, you have a mouse and a keyboard. That would be fine. But you can just go like this. Boom. Look at that. Now all of a sudden we have our trackpad. Of course, it's a touchscreen. Now there is a little bit of a haptic feedback. We'll get that later. We have our keyboard in here. Very cool. You do have the keyboard that comes with it, the physical keyboard that comes with it. Now there's a few ways you can use this. Turn it on. You can use it, you know, just setting it on there, which goes into keyboard mode. This becomes a trackpad. You can see the keyboard. Well, maybe you can see the keyboard disappeared underneath there. Now we have a physical keyboard, right? And trackpad there. You can also take it off, use it like that, get a mouse. You could put it into, you know, a portrait mode type thing, use it like that, right? I'll show you some different setups in a minute, but generally speaking, that's kind of the form factor that we have here now. When you close it, you do want to take the keyboard out and it turns into it, but essentially it just looks like a standard Yoga, right? Just a standard Yoga with a nice shiny blue thing going on. That's a metal hinge there. Not tons of ports or anything like that, but you do get 2 USB-C, Thunderbolt, very nice. So you can run docks and docks and docks. Another USB-C, Thunderbolt. That's the ECR reset. And with, I mean, you're not going to get tons of USB-A ports and HDMI and that kind of stuff, but it's easy to run dongles because you have so many Thunderbolt ports. You could just run docks and docks and docks easily. On the bottom, not much going on. You can see there. You have some speakerage there. Right in here. You probably not the type of laptop you want to really open unless you're servicing it, to be honest. I don't want to break it, so I'm not going to actually open this one up. It's very rare for me to not open up a product, but I don't want to break this one. Ventilation comes out the back there. Very cool. It does flip into like a true tablet mode, right? You can go like that. Put it into a real tablet mode there, like that. Right? The back turns off automatically when it's in tablet mode. Then you can just use it as a tablet, right? Watching shows, keyboard like that. And it does also come with a pen. And there, it's actually a really nice pen. We'll test that out later, but you do have access to a pen. So there's those kind of options. It's a really cool product. I was going to talk about the like form factors and that like later in the video, but I decided, you know, kind of the whole point of it is this here. Put that on there. Turns into that. But another thing you can do is you can bring this down here. By the way, this is magnetized. See how I'm kind of, there's a little bit of resistance there. It's not, see how it goes back? It's not hard to move, but it doesn't just move on its own, right? Like it doesn't fall off. It's going to slowly go like that there. Anyways, so then now what you have here is you have these kind of little zones here. You can customize these right now. There's some nonsense news kind of stuff. You have some statistics stuff in your computer. Calgary, the weather here. It's cold tomorrow. Oh, that's hot. Okay, it's hot tomorrow. Not cold tomorrow. It's 28. Cold the next couple days. Kind of nice actually because it's been super hot. Go through these kind of stuff. You can change these as needed. And it's a real screen. See that? How it goes down there? And because these are identical screens, the aspect ratio and scaling is the same unless you changed it. But you can see that there. Go like that. Comes down here, right? And this is a true screen, so I can fill it. So if I was working on like a video type thing, come have my timeline down there, or just some documents type stuff, you have this thing here. This is not just your keyboard holder. When you first get it, it's a keyboard holder, and a keyboard holder, but it's also a stand. So there's tons of different ways you can set this thing up. That's probably the one that I would normally use. Just go like that there, and probably something like that. Yeah, that looks cool. And then you can put it something like that. That's where this thing becomes kind of super compelling, because there's so many different workflows you can do. Like you can do a workflow like that. You can see how fast this snaps, by the way, right? Dual stacked screen. Like there's products, I'm actually going to be reviewing a dual stacked screen, and it's like something people pay money for. Be like, I need a dual stacked screen. That just slaps right in there. It's magnetic. Look at that. Look at how freaking cool that is. And the interesting thing is, I'm going to bring this down here, you don't actually have the biggest footprint. Like physically, the footprint of how much desk you need is not large. We'll look back here. Can you see that? It's not that much, honestly. You just have basically how long that thing stands out here and here. So you can actually get on like a plane, and I'm not even joking here. You get on a plane and just use a little tray table, and you could fit this thing on there. I guess unless you had some weird plane. And then you have this massive tower in front of you. You can get so much work done. Or class or a coffee shop. Like say you go to class or a coffee shop or something like that. You don't necessarily have a large desk, right? Like your physical desk is not large. It's going to be potentially small. If you want to have a multi-screen setup, typically what you're going to do is you're going to have your laptop, and then you're going to like get like another screen, like a second monitor. There's nowhere to put it, potentially, if you don't have a large desk like I have here, if you're in a coffee shop or something like that. Or of course on a plane, where you're going to put it, like the other person's tray. So here though, you can stack it. It's designed to meet your needs, right? It's not the type of product where it's like, it's one niche thing and it's like, all right, this is how you use this product. This is the type of product. It's like, here's the product. It does all these things. You figure out what you want to do with it. Like it's your call. It's up to you to decide how you want to use it. And more specifically, and more importantly, it can be modified based on your setup and based on what your needs are. So let's say I'm, working on reading some documents or something like that. Imagine using it like this, and I have a full page document over here and a full page document over there. Like these type of devices would have been such a godsend when I was a student. Like this is a long time ago. These things didn't exist. When I was in university, the first thing, the most novel thing was a netbook. It's like, ooh, a tiny little laptop, and there was garbage, and they barely worked. Yeah, that's how old I am. Something like this, like, yeah, it's not going to be like a gaming computer, but I mean, just imagine taking this into like a classroom or a business meeting or something like that, and you have like full page I'm working on a document here, and I have a full freaking page thing over there. Of course, you can, change these things. You can say, have a full page thing that I'm reading, I'm doing some research about the yoga book, right? Have this over here. The other thing is you could have something like that. Probably make it more like that. I'm taking notes down here, making notes. Over here I'm drawing, or like using my Evernote program or whatever it is, right? Notes. It goes there. Right now I have a full type of drawing. I'm going to draw a box. It's whatever you want to do, right? Like this is just, I'm just playing with it because I'm just having fun, to be honest. Maybe this is how I want to do it. And I want to have it more like a traditional setup like that, where I have two screens that I'm writing on that one, doing on that one, and then I'm taking notes down here. Or I'm doing drawings down here. I don't actually know what that does. Oh, that's cool. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. You take notes, be like, man, I need to remember what I need to do by OJ. Or more specifically, if you're using it professionally, you can be like, you're working on something and be like, rather than having a notepad, like a physical notepad over here, because you're occupying that with the pen, you can just be like, I just got to write down some numbers real quick. So, I need to remember that the previous one was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, and then there was a B, A, L, N, -1, R, R, 4, A. I have terrible handwriting, by the way. As you can see, right? Do that kind of thing. Or you can do a little sketch. Be like, it's very important that I draw this house, because then I'm going to know that later I need to do my pen section. And I can say, it's a freaking tree, bro. What other colors we got here? Red? Red brick house. Green for some grass. And there's even a babbling brook coming through, right? Like it's just, what does that do? Oh, you gotta use the pen. Oh, bookmark. Okay. And you can make bookmarks. You can add more, right? Like you can just go back to my original one. Go back, keep taking notes, keep taking notes. So that's my tree drawing with some passwords on it. And then over here is a picture of a a duck. And the duck belongs in the babbling brook. He actually is here. You just can't see him because he's small. Yeah, so I mean, it's cool, right? You can do whatever you want. I completely forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, this. Maybe that's why it takes so long to do these cool videos. I'm just like so distracted. And then you can go like that and be like, I don't need you anymore. Come in here. Let's type on this one here. Like, this is a fantastic keyboard, by the way. Oop, typo. I never typo. So fantastic typing experience, to be honest. It's really, really nice typing experience with this here. It's fantastic. Of course, you can take it away, use it like that. It's Bluetooth, right? Put it back on, use it like that. And then the digital built-in one is very good. Here, and remember, I just went like that. There's a program to teach you to do all this stuff. I'll show you that in a sec. But let's come in here. We'll do a quick typing test. This doesn't feel as natural as a real physical keyboard, but it's not bad. It does have haptic built in, so there's a vibration motor. But it's not exactly the same as a keyboard, but it's fine. Oops, see, there's one typo. Again, I have not practiced. What am I saying here? Built-in digital keyboard. Yoga book. 99. So you can see, like, I'm slower than real life because I'm used to typing on a keyboard, but you can get pretty quick. I just type a little different. I do, like, the keys are physically very large, which is a good thing. Like, they're actually much larger than a normal key, meaning you have more error proofing because, you know, you're not going to be like, oh, it's so tiny, I have to hit right where the letters are. Then it feels very responsive. And there is that tactile kind of, like, that's not the sound of me typing. The thing actually vibrates. That's cool. And of course, the trackpad is just a glass thing, so it feels fantastic. It feels like a glass trackpad. And then, you know, the only thing is these buttons aren't physical, but it doesn't really feel very different than a glass trackpad, to be honest. And I guess, like, the edge, you can go over, but it still works, right? Just visually there, it still works over here. If you start over here, it won't. But if you start over here, it's not going to be like, oh, too bad, bro, you went over the edge. It doesn't work like that. And these buttons here, I mean, you can tap here, just like a normal thing, right? I use a trackpad that's from a Lenovo ThinkBook. It's off camera. It's a haptic trackpad, physical, with a glass trackpad, glass cover. It feels very similar to this. Let's come back in here and I'll just show you guys how responsive the pen is. I'm just going to make it a little easier to actually show on camera. It's going to be hard for me, but it's going to be easier for you. So again, I was drawing earlier, but we'll just show you how responsive it is, right? Now, it's not a 120 hertz refresh rate screen, but even so, the latency is very good, but it feels natural and responsive. No different than my, like, iPad and Apple Pencil off the thing, or I just reviewed the Legion tablet Gen 4. Same idea. It's just, they're really, really nice. And of course, you do have your buttons here for, like, undo, erasey thing, get out of here, erasey things. And it feels natural. Like, I have horrible handwriting. That is a massive thing for writing, but Bo is my nome, right? Like, it feels fantastic. So if you're taking notes in a note type device, or if you're drawing, it's going to feel fantastic. I mean, you'd hope so, because that's kind of the point of it. So there you go, like that. So inputting the device is fantastic. Screens are fantastic for typey type stuff. Touching feels good. The pen is fantastic for that. And the keyboard itself is obviously fantastic as well. It feels very, very, very nice. Let's put it back into traditional laptop mode. I'm just going to, like, keep flipping around stuff to be like, how do I want to record this? I think that's the most, like, the easiest just for recording purposes. The way that you want to do this is you want to update your hardware through Vantage. You want the OEM, which is the laptop manufacturer, to update your hardware. Drivers, BIOS, that kind of stuff. Then you can go and you can update your software and Windows through a Windows update. But this is where you want to get your primary updates for the actual laptop. In here you do have some control type stuff, power modes, conservation mode. So if it's plugged in all the time, you put it in that and it won't charge up to 100% because leaving your battery charged at 100% perpetually is bad for it. If you're constantly taking it, maybe don't do that. You have some display stuff here. Important because of this laptop specifically being a dual OLED. Right, you have like taskbar to make perpetual elements go away. I've used it many times on Lenovo stuff and it's fine. It'll just go away after a minute or it'll become transparent. Lots of different options. You can make it dim, just general Lenovo, just general like OLED care type stuff. Adaptive dimming means like it actually will watch you. It's not the camera, it's actually infrared, just so you know. And when you move away, it will dim. I think you can actually do it when you're looking at it as well. I don't like that, but you certainly can. You do have audio profiles here. I'll go dynamic. Modes, don't really play with that much. Updates, all that kind of stuff. So this is the thing, and you can get support down here as well. So that's Vantage. That's important. Then you have this one, which is specific for this product, because this is a dual OLED touchy type thing. This is where you're going to kind of learn how to use a lot of this stuff. So different gestures to go from this mode, when I take that off, to go from the single screen up to the dual screen, penny type stuff, and you can actually play with it. So originally, I guess the previous reviewer, because I'm not the first reviewer of this, had it in a different type of mode where it was floating. Yeah, it was one of these. It was actually floating. Like the keyboard was floating in the middle. And I was like, I don't like that. So I came in here and I just changed it, right? Tells you all kinds of other stuff like gestures and things like that. Like you can flick stuff out of here to get rid of it. Be like, I don't want you anymore. Like this is useful because of the specific laptop being a dual screen kind of touch type thing. It's just more unique and you can customize it how you see fit. You're not locked in dual screen wallpaper. Ooh. Which one did we get to choose? Look at that. That's a Lenovo. That's like their mini LED kind of thing. 120 hertz or 60 hertz. The bottom one has more display options, which makes sense because it's often being used for the keyboard. So you can go like 60, 75, 100, whatever. I'll just leave that at 120 in both. Okay, so I mean, it's 100% DCI-P3 color space, creator-focused screen. You're going to expect it to be beautiful, and it is. Very vibrant reds. It is glossy, but it's not like super glossy, which I'm going to show you. Come over here, go into a scene like that. Now, that's probably what I see about there. So it is a reflective OLED. It's not an anti-gloss, but it's not as bad as some laptops. I'm actually reviewing a Lenovo Legion right now. That's a glossy OLED, and it's much more reflective than this. So this is kind of in between. But just be aware it doesn't have, an anti-glare type coating. So if you're in a very bright environment with tons of lights all over the place, it might be annoying, but it's so bright and it's easy to change the angles. I don't think it's the end of the world. Just be aware of it though. Typically glossy screens are more vibrant and beautiful. You do have incredible blacks because it's an OLED obviously. And because it's a glossy screen, you also get even more vibrant colors than normal. If it was like a matte type OLED, it would be less vibrant. So one of the advantages of glossy screens is the vibrancy really pops off the screen. Even like an IPS screen that's glossy can look pretty compelling. So beautiful greens here. Everything is very rich, bold, lovely. I would hope so because it's a dual screen laptop. A major selling feature of the laptop is that it is made of two giant screens. And they're beautiful screens. Right? And of course, they look good on both. Right? They're the same. So your choice, they look fantastic though. So very, very nice screen. Now, audio, I suspect, is going to be incredibly loud because I didn't realize how loud that was going to be. So I would be very careful about your headphones right now. I think this thing's going to get super loud. Generally speaking, Yogas are Lenovo's most premium laptops overall. I get the Legions and that too, but like the Yoga 9i is Lenovo's like true Halo laptop. They are incredibly nice laptops, and they typically are made for people who are very, very picky about things like screen and audio. So I expect this thing to have really good audio, despite the fact that it's a tiny, thin little dual screen thing. Jesus. Look at that. It's like turned way down. This thing, it was like freaking out. This thing gets super loud. Yeah, it has really loud speakers. I didn't expect it to get that loud. Now, what you'll find interesting when you actually try this thing is it has a decent amount of bass. It's not like a rumbling bass. If you get the Yoga 9i Pro, like the full 16-inch laptop, like the big boy, it has, you know, a multi-speaker setup, and there's some rumblers in there, and they can really hit that low-end bass. You don't quite get that here, but it does. There is bass. Now, this is a deal breaker, but just be aware of this. I'm going to show you something here. When you are trying to install something, let's zoom out here, it just threw me off for the first minute or two. You go like that, and then you go like that, and you're like, the trackpad disappears. So that's the only case, because when you bring that up, an installation thing is going to pop up and it will nuke whatever else is on screens. So that's the one case where you're like, oh no, I lost my thing. You just got to use the touch. Just so you know, generally speaking, when it's not doing anything, it is complete silence. I'm even installing a program in the background. It's completely silent. At least I don't think I can hear it. I also have my window open, so there might be like, whatever. Anyways, so that's very, very, very quiet. And the thermals here are quite good, just kind of hanging out. The 255H is capable of using a ton of power and potentially getting warm, but it also is very efficient. So you'll see, see it's throttling as I install this program. Kicking up now. Fans have kicked in. So we'll look at that in a minute, but you can see the fans will kick up and cool itself down. Now the temperatures went way down. Just took a second or two. Now, what mode are we in here? You can use this here. Performance mode. So, oops, come like that here. Let's see where we're at. So in performance mode, let's check what we can get for wattages. I'm curious. My ThinkBook does probably a fair bit higher watts than this, just because it's, you know, a full laptop with dual heat pipe cooling, 2 fans. But we'll see. It's actually higher than I thought. It is actually hitting up 60 watts. I do not expect it to maintain that, but we'll see. The scores on this are actually very good. The Cinebench scores are very good. I did not anticipate that either. This thing is a massive improvement from last year, because the Arrow Lake, the 255H, is a very good CPU. It's much more efficient. It doesn't need as much watts to do stuff. Yeah, see the watts drop down. So you do get a 60 watt burst, and then it'll run in performance mode at about 35. This is as loud as a laptop is going to get, and it's really not that loud. Right, 44 dB under full load, going through some Cinebench. This will be higher later, but I mean, it's a freaking Yoga dual screen thing, doing 17,000 in Cinebench. Yeah, Arrow Lake is really good. Come in here. Let's go balance mode, see what it does for watts. We'll see if it drops down from 30. Around 20. Sub 40 dB is quiet. 35, 32, 33 is my noise floor. Right, this is the type of thing you could render. You're still gonna get performance, decent performance on balance mode, and you can just like have this thing beside someone else who's like noise sensitive, and be like rendering a video. They won't care. They're not gonna be able to hear it. They may be like, yeah, your laptop is on. It's about as far as it's gonna go. Let's check silent mode. Silent mode, like, I mean, the fans are basically barely on. We're at only 10 watts. There's other things, like if you do music production or video editing, the CPU is very powerful. It's not like you're compromising and getting, oh, I only have a 255H, which is, in my opinion, this guy, the best CPU on the market. You're not like, oh, I only have that. Right, so this is cool, right? You come down like that. then you have this here. You get rid of these things, be like, I don't want you, right? If depending on the program you use, you can undock this here, bring it down, have your timeline down here, scrub through it as need be. Then up here, you can have a much larger interface for that. Of course, you can bring the whole freaking thing off, right? Something like that. And then especially useful, depending on what you're doing, again, throw that down here, for example. I could bring in, my video files and that, or if I'm doing some auxiliary stuff, sometimes for me, I'll have like Excel spreadsheets because I'm looking at like real data while I'm doing editing. And then this could be larger, lots of different ways you could use it, but it's very good. I mean, you have 2 screens. So for professional tasks, it's a fantastic device because of that. And of course you can put it in, planar mode where it's like that, for example, and then video edit like that, whatever you're trying to do, whatever your program is of choice. Do it like that. That's cool. But I do want to show you one other thing. Just go like that there. Bring that back. Just how good the CPU is. Sorry, is what I want to do here. So 6. Bring that in. Go like that there. Bring it in. Now, I do all of my video editing for my channel on an Arrow Lake 255H. All of it. That's what I do. Watch this. Done. Audio process, video process, done. That was like 2 seconds. That is 4K 60 video file, 6 gigabytes, and it's 12 minutes or 11 minutes or so. Actually, it's longer, but was it 11 and a half? Yeah, about 11 minutes of that footage. It's fantastic. It is fantastic. It's so fast. I do all my video editing on my ThinkBook, which has the same CPU. And the performance will be around the same, honestly, because I ran full Cinebench. You'll see in the benchmark sections, I ran full Cinebench on this thing. And it doesn't really get that much like lower. Some laptops you'd have like a really high burst, so you get like a couple instant, like maybe a minute or two, and then all of a sudden it gets kind of slow because it starts to get hot. This one seems to manage very well, again, because it's an Arrow Lake CPU. Okay, and here is the Yoga Book. Doing some Cinebench runs, just looking for some temperature. Keyboard's obviously not going to have any temperature, so let's take that off, get that started. Move it back slightly. Okay, so let's see what we got here. My skin is 33.5. The laptop is cooler than 33.5. So you're not going to feel anything if you're typing on here on this surface. That has no temperature either. Where's the internals? The hinge there where the heat comes out, getting a little warmer. That tiny bit of the screen there is 45 right here. It's still not bad though. I mean, it's not going to be a problem. Okay, that's fine there. All good. Let's see the bottom where it's going to be sitting on your legs. There should be, yeah, there's some heat finally. That's where the components are inside, obviously. The exhaust. So I'm assuming that it's pulling air in from the center as a result. So those are the intakes there, 1 and 2, because it's cooler. And then it's exhausting out of there. But you can see, like, even where your thigh would potentially sit, it's not that warm, 41, 42. So yeah, it's running pretty cool considering it's such a compact thing. And it is capable of pulling watts. Now looking at the benchmarks. So the first one here is just a quick burst, about a minute or so, on Cinebench on the performance mode. And you can see that in a short burst situation, we're getting about 15,000. That's very good. Very good. And you have to consider here that this is in a quite thin laptop. That's actually a dual screen little thing. So that is actually incredibly impressive. Then moving into a full Cinebench run, same thing. I just ran it all the way through because sometimes they can't maintain that level of performance. They get overheated or whatever. And we only dropped a little bit. We're at 13,300 or so. Very good, honestly. So it's basically able to maintain that performance all the way through. Of course, you do get a very short burst, but even so, very impressive from a freaking Yoga Book dual screen thing. And then I just threw it down into balanced. Same idea, 11,265. Even that is very good, honestly. And then throwing it all the way down to silent. I mean, even that, it's still pretty impressive. You can do a ton of work on a CPU running at 6,302. I'm talking like serious work here. Not, I'm going to compromise and get nothing done. That's impressive. Honestly, it's very impressive. Then looking at the included SSD, it's quite fast. Obviously, Gen 4, upper tier Gen 4. You can replace it. Might be a bit of a pain, but theoretically you can replace it if you're careful, I suppose. Then looking at the battery here, Arrow Lake, I use it on my daily driver, and it is pretty efficient, honestly. Here we're looking at the fact that despite being such a powerful CPU, hanging out here with the keyboard installed, so we basically have the full screen on the top and the half screen on the bottom, both at full refresh. I didn't put them down to 60 hertz, and full brightness, so real world usage scenario. And we're looking at about 8.5 watts being burned here, and that's going to be good for about 9 hours, generally speaking. And I'm hanging out here, kind of just moving through windows. So, you're looking at about 9 hours. Once you start to do some more stuff, maybe 8 hours. So, easy 8 hours on this laptop here. It's very impressive. I mean, it has a huge 87 watt hour battery, so that's pretty impressive. Then over here, I went dual screen. So I took that keyboard off, used it externally, and I had the full OLED screen dual. Didn't make a difference, basically looking at the same. So you're going to be getting, generally speaking, between 8 and 10 hours on this laptop, no problem. If you're just doing generic, word processing, that kind of stuff, you'll have no problem going through all day, work all day, school, that kind of thing, which I was a little worried about having two screens, but it seems to be very efficient. Over time, let's see how good it is. It looks fine. A little faded. My skin is a little faded. It's also 2 o'clock in the morning, and maybe that's how I look because I'm tired. It's doing a pretty good job. I have a lot of lights off in here. I have this one, and I have one way over there, and it's doing a pretty good job. Honestly, it's not overly lightening myself up and desaturating myself too much. The polling rate maintains pretty decent considering it's not that light. And I mean, that's kind of what you'd expect. It's a high end laptop from Lenovo, so you wouldn't expect it to have some garbage webcam, and it doesn't. It looks fine. You guys want to see sick? This is, I'll just do some game testing. We'll just do some brand new Doom: The Dark Ages. It's a 140 Ti GPU, so it's gonna just rip and tear in this game. It's just the way that it is. Now, this specific config here only has 16 gigabytes of memory. I would recommend getting more. I'd recommend getting 32 just in general for professional tasks. But when you're gaming, because the GPU, the iGPU 140T, steals memory from the system, you're going to be balancing that 16 gigabytes for running Windows, running the game, and supplying VRAM to the GPU. So if you have this with 16 gigabytes versus 32 is going to be way better. I know this because my laptop off there has 32 gigabytes. I can even link that video in the video description down below, and you'll be like, wow, it runs really well. And you'll be like, yeah, you're damn right it does. I play games all the time. So we'll just, I don't know, let's maybe put it to like low. We'll just start with that. I'm sure it'll be fine. The reason I'm doing this is I'm worried about VRAM. It doesn't say we're using it, but I am legitimately worried about exceeding our VRAM capacity. And when you do that, it's the performance will go down. If you had 32 gigabytes, it's not an issue because Windows takes like 6 to 7 gigabytes. The game takes 6 or 7 gigabytes, and then VRAM memory, you can give the 142 another 6 or 7 gigabytes. So you'll have lots of bonus. But here with this specific config at 16 gigabytes, you are going to have to be kind of balancing it a little bit here. Just replay this first level. We'll just use this overlay here. It doesn't really matter. Just to prove that you're going to be able to get some like decent 30. Again, you can use frame gen and stuff if you want to. I would say any negatives we're seeing here is probably partially a relic. I don't remember how to do this on the keyboard. There we go. It's partially a relic of just not having enough system memory. We only have 16 to work with, whereas I would prefer this to have 32. But I mean, you're still going to be playing Doom: The Dark Ages at like above 30. Again, you can use frame gen, whatever, and I guarantee you that if you use this exact system here with 32 gigabytes, it'll run better. And I know that because I have my primary desktop and I play games all the time on it, like every single day, and it runs better than this. Like this, dropping down to 27 and 32, it wouldn't happen on my my ThinkBook. And that's partially because I have more system memory. I have 32 gigabytes. So I don't have to worry about VRAM limitations. But I mean, yeah, play with it how you want. You're going to be getting good experience here. I mean, this is a brand new 2025 game that people like me and, you know, bigger channels use as a benchmark. That's how hard this game is to run. And it's like, yeah, you show up with your like creative dual screen OLED thing and you're just ripping Doom the Dark Ages just because why not? Because everything's a gaming laptop these days because these things have crazy good iGPUs, right? The 140T is more powerful than the 140V. It's more powerful than the 780M, which was last generation's best from AMD. It's a little bit behind the 890M. Depends on the game. But generally speaking, it's a little bit slower. And this is actually not the best representation, as I said, because VRAM. But it's still running fantastic. So, yeah, you want to play games on your Yoga Book? You can. You can play any game on the market right now. Literally, any game. This is probably one of the most demanding. You know, I've tested that laptop with any game that I feel like it will play all of them. Maybe in a year or two down the road, you're going to start to get to games that it's just slightly starting to get a little slower. But trust me, this is a fantastic iGPU, and you can play any game on the market. 2025, and that means there's hundreds of thousands of games you can play here. I'm not talking like, oh, we're going to play this in like 400p, right? No, we'll just play at 1080p like this and be just fine. If you're playing a game from a couple years ago, you're going to be playing at probably 1600 or 1800p. Lots of options. Very good. Good and the bad. Bad. There are none. It's very expensive. It's a super expensive little thing. So, you know, you're going to pay a lot of money. You're getting this super novel, you know, cutting edge tech with dual OLED screen, all these accessories. I did not expect it to be cheap. This unit here has 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is a negative, and you shouldn't buy it. You shouldn't spend that kind of money getting this kind of performance with this kind of laptop and buy it at 16 gigabytes of RAM. Do yourself a favor and don't be dumb. Buy yourself more RAM. Once you do that, once you buy in with more RAM, 32 gigabytes, for example, then there's really no negative to this laptop. Again, it's expensive, but I mean, it does everything it's supposed to do. It's not for everybody. This is not a laptop for everybody. Me personally, like for what I do now, I wouldn't use this. It doesn't make sense for me. When I was a student, however, holy crap, would this laptop have been absolutely incredible for my quality of life as a student. Honestly, it would have been amazing because, you know, you have access to the touch screens, you have access to the keyboard, you have access to note taking with a pen. You can put it into a tablet mode. It's awesome. Honestly, the battery life was shockingly good. Considering it has two OLED screens, I was like, it's going to be garbage. But again, I shouldn't have thought that because it's an Aero-like CPU. They park very well. My daily driver has crazy good battery life. Everything's responsive. The screen's amazing. It's touch. I guess it's reflective a little bit. It's not as bad as some. Where is that light? There it is. Like that's a straight light on here. There's that one here. Can I get that? Yeah. Right. So it's possible to make it reflective, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. There's like it is a reflective touchscreen OLED, but it's not as bad as some of them. CPU runs very performant. 255H is the CPU to buy this year. We'll see what comes out. If there's some like revamped AMD thing, but it's funny. Like I was the guy who was like, you got to buy AMD. And then Intel came back and they made the Arrow Lake and it's the best. So it's fantastic. I mean, it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It's super premium. There are no negatives to it really, if it's something that you want. If you don't want it, then don't buy it. But if you do want it, then it's sick and it does exactly what it's supposed to do.